Right now, if you are of European or Asian descent, 1 to 4% of your DNA doesn't belong to modern humans at all. It belongs to a different species, one that went extinct 40,000 years ago. And in February 2026, scientists published a study in one of the most prestigious journals on Earth. And what they found should change how you see yourself. That Neanderthal DNA in your body got there through your female ancestors. The genetic evidence is unambiguous. The pairings were overwhelmingly between male Neanderthals and female modern humans. The simplest explanation? She chose him. So today we are asking, what if ancient human women genuinely preferred Neanderthal men? What does that say about attraction, evolution, and what we even consider human? Because the answer is stranger, darker, and more personal than you think. Let's start with what Neanderthals actually were. Because your brain is probably picturing something wrong. Most people imagine Neanderthals as dumb, brutish cavemen, knuckle-dragging, primitive, less than human. That is not what the evidence shows. Neanderthals had brains as large as ours. They buried their dead with flowers and tools, suggesting they believed in something beyond death. They made jewelry. They created art. They used fire with skill. They lived in family groups. They cared for their injured and elderly. An elderly Neanderthal skeleton found in Iraq showed severe injuries that would have left him completely dependent on others for years before his death. His group kept him alive anyway. These were not animals. These were people, a different kind of people, but people nonetheless. Now here is where the 2026 study changes everything. Scientists analyzed Neanderthal DNA patterns across modern human populations, and they found something nobody expected. The interbreeding was not random. It was not accidental. It was not simply two groups crossing paths and occasionally mixing. The genetic data showed a 62% excess of modern human DNA on the X chromosome in Neanderthal genomes. In simple terms, the vast majority of human Neanderthal pairings followed one specific pattern: male Neanderthal, female modern human. Not the other way around. That is not chance, that is a pattern. And patterns in genetics mean something. So what explains it? Scientists modeled three possibilities. First, migration patterns forced this combination. Second, it happened by chance. Third, it was female choice. The data ruled out the first two. The pattern was too consistent, too widespread, too specific to be explained by geography or luck. The most statistically supported explanation was behavioral. Female modern humans were preferentially choosing male Neanderthals as mates, not being forced, not stumbling into it by accident, choosing. Now think about what that means for a moment. Your female ancestors, the women who built the genetic foundation of everything you are, looked at a Neanderthal man and made a decision. He is the one. What did they see? Neanderthals were physically powerful, broader, stronger, built for the brutal Ice Age environment in ways that modern humans were not yet fully adapted to. They knew the land. They had survived in Europe and Asia for hundreds of thousands of years before modern humans arrived. They knew where the food was, where the dangers were, how to survive winters that would kill an unprepared modern human in days. In the brutal calculus of survival, a Neanderthal man was a genuinely attractive option, not despite being different, possibly because of it. And then in April 2026 came another bombshell, the Tin Shemet Cave discovery. Researchers published the first ever evidence that Neanderthals and modern humans didn't just occasionally meet and mate, they lived together. In the mid-Middle Paleolithic Levant, what is now Israel and Lebanon, Neanderthals and Homo sapiens coexisted for thousands of years, sharing burial sites, sharing tools, sharing culture. They weren't just neighbors who occasionally crossed paths, they built something together. And the women of one species chose the men of the other, not once, not twice, consistently, over generations. Now here's the part that makes this personal. That choice is still living inside you right now. The Neanderthal DNA inherited through those ancient unions doesn't just sit in your genome doing nothing. It is active. It influences your immune response. Some Neanderthal gene variants make you better at fighting certain pathogens that still exist today. It shapes your sleep cycles. Neanderthal DNA variants are associated with differences in circadian rhythms. It affects your risk for depression. Some mental health vulnerabilities in modern humans trace directly back to Neanderthal genetic contributions. The decisions those women made 50,000 years ago are still shaping your biology today. Every time your immune system fights off an infection, every time you struggle to sleep, every time you feel the weight of something you can't quite name. Part of that is them, part of that is her choice. But here is the philosophical question this raises. If modern human women chose Neanderthal men, what does that say about the line between us and them? We have spent centuries drawing a clear boundary. Humans here, Neanderthals there, us, them, civilized, primitive. But the genetics don't show a clean boundary, they show a blur. Two species close enough to find each other attractive, close enough to have children together, close enough to share culture and burial rituals and tools. The line we draw between human and not human is one we invented. The reality was always messier, always more intimate, always more complicated than the textbooks suggested. And maybe that is the most unsettling part of this story. Not that it happened, but that we can feel it. That the pull those women felt towards something different, something powerful, something that existed at the edge of what they understood as human. That pull is still in you, in the DNA they passed down, in the immune system that fights differently because of them, in the sleep patterns shaped by Ice Age nights 50,000 years ago. You are not purely human. Nobody of European or Asian descent is. You are the result of a choice made by a woman who looked at something the rest of the world called other and said yes. Drop a comment below. Does knowing you carry Neanderthal DNA change how you see yourself? Subscribe for more ideas that change how you see the world. And watch this next, because the next one goes even deeper.